Hey there, fellow Olympic enthusiasts. We know you're gearing up for something special. Maybe you're lucky enough to be heading to the games, planning an epic watch party, or simply want to be in the know. When conversations turn to those epic slopes and icy arenas, well, get ready to impress. Because we're about to take a deep dive into the fascinating world of the Winter Olympics.
All right, let's go.
You sent us a treasure trove of articles and notes, all about the history and intriguing trivia surrounding these games. We're talking unexpected origins, busted myths, and enough stories to make you the most interesting person at any viewing party. So buckle up.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Let's start by shattering a common misconception. You might assume the Winter Olympics have always been, well, winter events. But brace yourself. Figure skating was originally a Summer Olympics event.
Yeah, it's true. Picture this. The year is 1908, and the main summer games have just wrapped up in London. But a few months later, figure skating takes center stage. It really highlights the logistical challenges of hosting winter sports back then. Refrigeration technology was in its infancy, so finding reliable ice during the summer was a major hurdle.
Wow, talk about a logistical nightmare. It makes you appreciate how far we've come. But that wasn't the only twist in the early days of the Winter Olympics. The first official games held in 1924 weren't even called the Olympics.
You're absolutely right. The event in 1924 was initially known as International Winter Sports Week. What's even more fascinating is that it wasn't actually considered an official Olympic event at the time. It was only later, looking back, that the International Olympic Committee decided to retroactively declare it the first Winter Olympics.
Okay, that's a twist. So the first Winter Olympics weren't even the first Winter Olympics. It's like they leveled up after the fact. I wonder what prompted that decision. Was it just the growing popularity of winter sports?
That's a great question. Several factors were at play, including the increasing participation from different countries and the development of more specialized winter sports. The success of that International Winter Sports Week made it clear that there was a strong appetite for a dedicated winter sporting event on the global stage.
So from humble beginnings as a week to a global spectacle. Fascinating. And as the games evolved, so did the roster of events. Of course, we have the classics now, speed skating, skiing, ice hockey. But the Winter Olympics have also seen some truly unique events come and go over the years. Tell me more about these demonstration sports.
The demonstration sports. Think of them as the experimental phase of the Winter Olympics. They were a chance for host countries to showcase less familiar, often regionally popular sports. Some, like women's speed skating and curling, eventually gained permanent status, but others, like ski ballet and even dog sledding, faded into Olympic history.
Okay, I need you to paint a picture here. Ski ballet, what was that all about? I'm imagining skiers doing pirouettes and leaps in midair.
You're not far off. Imagine skiers performing acrobatic routines on the slopes, combining grace, athleticism, and yes, even a bit of dance. It was definitely visually spectacular. But ultimately, the IOC decided to discontinue demonstration sports. The program was becoming too crowded, and it was difficult to maintain consistency and fairness in judging these less established sports.
Makes sense. But you have to wonder what the games might look like today. If some of those more unconventional events had stuck around, imagine ski ballet as a viral sensation.
It's fascinating to consider, isn't it? Perhaps some of these sports would have evolved and gained wider recognition. Or maybe they would have remained niche curiosities. It's a reminder that the Olympics are constantly evolving, reflecting changing tastes and sporting trends.
Speaking of evolution, let's not forget about the incredible rise of the Paralympics, which have become such an integral part of the Winter Games. It's amazing to see these athletes shattering expectations and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. The Paralympics are a testament to the power of human determination and the spirit of athletic competition. They challenge our perceptions of ability and inspire us to redefine what it means to be an athlete. And the close relationship between the Winter Olympics and Paralympics highlights a growing commitment to inclusivity on the world stage.
It's truly remarkable. Now, before we go further, I'm curious, are you familiar with some of the unique terminology associated with the Winter Olympics? For instance, have you ever heard of a biathlon?
The biathlon.
Yeah.
It's one of those events that perfectly captures the duality of the Winter Olympics, a test of both physical prowess and mental focus. Imagine cross-country skiing at breakneck speed, heart-pounding, then suddenly needing to stop, calm your breath, and hit a tiny target hundreds of meters away with a rifle.
Wow. Talk about pressure. It's a perfect example of how language can add another layer of intrigue to these already captivating events. And speaking of interesting vocabulary, think about all the ways we use comparative and superlative adjectives when discussing the Olympics. Fastest, strongest, most decorated. These words paint a vivid picture of athletic excellence. But they also raise questions about how we define and measure success in this context.
It's true. What makes one athlete better than another? Is it purely about medals and records? Or are there other factors like sportsmanship perseverance? Or overcoming personal challenges that should be considered?
Great point. It really makes you think. Going through your materials, I was particularly drawn to the activities you included. One that really stood out is the Going for Gold exercise. It encourages you to actively engage with the games by describing, acting out, or even drawing different Winter Olympic events. It sounds like a fun way to get into the spirit of things, especially for those of us who can only dream of performing those incredible feats ourselves.
It's a fantastic way to connect with the games on a deeper level.
Now we've covered a lot of ground already, from surprise origins to evolving events, but there's so much more to explore. Next, we'll delve into some of the controversies and scandals that have rocked the Winter Olympics. Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the drama, intrigue, and ethical dilemmas that have shaped these games.
It's a side of the Olympics that often gets overshadowed by the spectacle and the medal count. But it's crucial for understanding the complexities and challenges that these games have faced over the years.
All right, we've explored the origins and evolution of the Winter Olympics, but now it's time to venture into a different kind of terrain, one filled with twists, turns, and maybe even a few wipeouts. We're talking about the controversies and scandals that have left their mark on these games.
That's right. As much as the Olympics strive to embody ideals of sportsmanship and global unity, they also reflect the complexities of human ambition, national pride, and the ever-present pressure to win.
And sometimes those pressures lead to decisions that cross ethical lines. Doping, for example, has been a persistent shadow over the games for decades. It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Absolutely. It's a constant battle to stay ahead of those seeking an unfair advantage, and the stakes are incredibly high. Think about the Russian doping scandal that unfolded during the 2014 Sochi Games. It wasn't just about individual athletes cheating. It was a state-sponsored system designed to manipulate the outcomes of the games on a grand scale.
It was a huge wake-up call, not only for the IOC, but for the entire sporting world. It forced everyone to confront the lengths to which some would go for Olympic glory, and the devastating consequences for both athletes and nations when those lines are crossed.
Exactly. The Sochi scandal prompted a major overhaul of anti-doping measures and a renewed focus on athlete education and support. But it's an ongoing challenge, especially as technology advances and new performance-enhancing substances emerge.
It's a reminder that the pursuit of excellence, while inspiring, can sometimes come at a cost. And doping isn't the only controversy that sparked debate and soul-searching within the Olympic community. Judging controversies, especially in sports like figure skating, where subjectivity plays a role, have also ignited fierce passions and raised questions about fairness and transparency.
Oh, absolutely. Think back to the 2002 Salt Lake City figure skating scandal, where allegations of vote trading and biased judging shook the sport to its core. That controversy exposed flaws in the scoring system and led to significant reforms, including the introduction of a new scoring system designed to be more objective and transparent.
It's a reminder that even with the best intentions, human judgment is inherently fallible, and the intense pressure cooker of the Olympics can magnify those flaws. And then, of course, there are the political controversies that have sometimes overshadowed the Games.
From boycotts to protests, to nations using the Olympics as a platform for political posturing, the intersection of sports and geopolitics has often been a source of tension and debate. The 1980 Moscow Olympics boycott by the United States, in response to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, is a prime example. It highlights how the Games can become entangled in global power struggles, impacting athletes and the spirit of international cooperation.
It's a reminder that the Olympics, despite their aspirations for unity, can't always escape the realities of the world, often divided by political ideologies and conflicts. But amidst the controversies, let's shift our focus to a different kind of impact. Did you know the Winter Olympics have also played a significant role in shaping culture, fashion, music, and even language?
It's fascinating, isn't it? While we primarily associate the Olympics with athletic achievements, their cultural influence extends far beyond the slopes and arenas.
Think about those iconic Olympic fashion moments. From the bright, bold ski suits to the sleek and elegant figure skating costumes, Olympic athletes often become trendsetters, influencing everything from streetwear to high fashion.
Absolutely. And who can forget those unforgettable Olympic anthems and theme songs? They become part of the collective soundtrack of our lives, evoking memories of past games and inspiring a sense of global unity.
It's amazing how these musical moments transcend language barriers, creating a shared emotional experience for millions around the world. And even the language we use in everyday conversations is often enriched by terms that originated in the world of sports, including words like podium, marathon, and victory, which have taken on broader metaphorical meanings. It's a testament to the pervasive influence of sports on our collective consciousness.
It's true. And speaking of influence, let's not forget the significant impact of the Paralympics, which have become an integral and inspiring part of the Winter Games.
The Paralympics really showcase the extraordinary power of the human spirit, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and challenging our perceptions of ability. The level of skill determination and sportsmanship displayed by these athletes is simply awe-inspiring.
And it's not just about individual achievements. The Paralympics have also played a crucial role in advocating for accessibility and raising awareness about the challenges faced by people with disabilities. They've helped shift societal attitudes and promote a more inclusive world.
Their inclusion within the broader Olympic framework sends a powerful message about the value and importance of diversity and representation in sports and society as a whole. Now we've journeyed through the highs and lows of the Winter Olympics, from their fascinating origins to the controversies and the profound cultural impact.
But our exploration isn't over yet. In our final segment, we'll turn our attention to the future of the Winter Games, contemplating the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. In a world facing climate change, evolving technology, and shifting global dynamics.
We've journeyed through the past, explored the triumphs and controversies of the present, and now it's time to put on our thinking caps and look ahead. What does the future hold for the Winter Olympics? We talked about how the games have constantly evolved over time. But I'm curious, what are some of the biggest forces shaping the future of these events?
Well, you hit on a key point. The Olympics are a reflection of the world around us. And right now we're facing some pretty significant challenges. Climate change, for instance, is a huge concern for winter sports. Melting glaciers, unpredictable snowfall. It's a stark reality that could dramatically impact where and how these games are held.
It's true. I remember reading about how some past Winter Olympic host cities might not even be viable options in the future because of rising temperatures and changing weather patterns. What are some potential solutions being considered?
There's a lot of discussion about incorporating more indoor events, or even utilizing artificial snow on a larger scale. Of course, both options come with their own set of challenges and costs, and some argue it takes away from the essence of these sports being connected to nature.
It's a tough balancing act. On the one hand, we want to preserve the traditions and spirit of the Winter Olympics. But on the other hand, we have to adapt to a changing world. And it's not just about the environment, right? Technology is also rapidly evolving. And I imagine that will play a role in shaping the future of the games.
Absolutely. Think about how we consume media these days. Streaming services, social media. They're changing the way we experience everything. And the Olympics are no exception. We're already seeing more personalized viewing options, with fans able to curate their own Olympic experience by choosing the specific events they want to watch.
It's like having your own personal highlight reel, and I can only imagine how social media will continue to connect athletes with fans in real time, creating a more interactive, global conversation around the games. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities, but it also raises some questions. With all this change, can the Olympics still uphold their core values? Will they continue to inspire unity and promote sportsmanship in a world that often feels increasingly divided?
That's the million-dollar question. Ultimately, the future of the Winter Olympics depends on the choices we make, both individually and collectively. Will we prioritize sustainability and inclusivity? Will we find ways to harness technology to enhance the games while preserving their integrity? Will we remember that beyond the medals and records, the true spirit of the Olympics lies in the human stories of perseverance, resilience, and striving for excellence?
Those are powerful questions. And speaking of powerful stories, it's impossible to talk about the future of the Winter Olympics without acknowledging the growing influence of the Paralympics. The Paralympic movement has not only shattered perceptions of what's possible, but has also become a driving force for inclusion and accessibility in sports and beyond.
I completely agree. The Paralympics represent everything that is good and inspiring about the Olympic spirit. They remind us that limitations are often self-imposed, and that the pursuit of excellence transcends any one definition of ability.
It's a message that resonates deeply, especially in a world that often feels focused on differences rather than commonalities. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Winter Olympics, what's a key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the Olympics, in all their complexity and evolution, are a mirror to humanity. They reflect our aspirations, our struggles, our capacity for both greatness and missteps, They challenge us to think critically about issues like sustainability ethics and the power of inclusion. But ultimately, they remind us that even in a world facing complex challenges, there is always room for hope, inspiration, and the pursuit of something bigger than ourselves.
Beautifully said. So, to our listener, as you gear up to experience the thrill of the upcoming Winter Olympics, remember that you're not just witnessing a sporting event. You're engaging with a piece of history, a reflection of our world, and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Enjoy the games, embrace the stories, and keep those questions and conversations going long after the closing ceremonies.